Hello, we are in week 7, and I just want to talk a little bit about the preschool physical development and our textbooks, chapter 10. So as I'm looking through chapter 10, I just want to point out a few things. When I look at that vignette on the first 2 pages of chapter 10, I just want to shake my head. I mean, as someone who's taught preschool, kindergarten, and first grade for a long time, I want to say, physical development is not the problem here. The problem is classroom management, because when you have preschool age children, they're not born knowing how to work in any center, and they have no clue what your expectations are of them in any center. So it is up to the teacher to teach exactly what the centers are about, what the expected behavior in the center is, how to clean up the center, and what the consequences are if you choose not to follow the rules. So there you have it. Anyhow, I just had to put my 2 cents in, because I looked at this and I said, it's not physical development, it's the teacher's development. Okay, onward. So let me go on, and the next thing I want to share with you, they talk about rough and tumble play. My kids used to just do rough and tumble play every time they were on the playground. All the little boys were out there pretending they were superheroes, and they were all over each other. And sometimes it was really hard to see where the play ended and maybe the fighting began, or maybe some bullying was starting. I mean, it was really hard to tell. There is a great article that I have posted here. It's called Rough and Tumble Play. Because it really is one of the most challenging behaviors. I highly recommend it, because the authors really do give some good insights into what it is and what it's not, and how to tell the difference. So if you have a little time, you'll enjoy it. I think it's definitely worth reading. I also have some discussion notes about physical development that you can read through that go along with the chapter. And then I just want to point out some artistic development, because they talk about it, but they talk about it rather briefly. So as far as fine motor development, I just want to point out that it does not necessarily follow the same routine as gross motor development. Most children have a great deal more gross motor development earlier than fine motor development. Traditionally, the little girls will have better fine motor development than the little boys in preschool age, only because they have practiced it more, because little girls are much more apt to color, use those fingers, to practice those movements. And that's where you get that muscle memory from coloring with crayons, trying to stay in the lines, so on and so forth. So, it takes a while for that fine motor to catch up for most children. One of the best ways I have found to really foster fine motor development in all children is give them scissors. Find some child-safe scissors, and then just give them pieces of paper with lines on it, and have them cut along the lines. And it really does exercise those muscles a great deal. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about the artistic development that they're talking about in this chapter, because they don't cover some of it as much as I would like to. When we talk about artistic development, we're talking about art that comes from the heart, something that the child thought of. That's what I think art is, when children create something. But so many times when a child comes home from preschool, they don't have a piece of art. They have a craft. Art is subjective. It just depends on what that person had in their mind at that particular moment. All the teacher has to do is provide the materials, and children use their own ideas. So that's art. A craft, on the other hand, is very objective. It means that you have an object in mind that you want created. There is a defined outcome. There may even be a sample up on the wall. Your teachers are highly focused on helping children reach the objective. Everyone has to do it exactly the same. Everyone's turkey looks the same. Everyone's pumpkin's the same. Everybody's handprints look the same. You see where I'm going with this. It's not art. It's a craft. Nothing wrong with doing a craft on occasion, but I wanted y'all to know the difference too. If you really want to look at the difference, here's a chart. This one here is art activities, and this one here is teacher directed. One of the things that really sets art activities apart from craft and teacher directed is the fact that art activities foster autonomy because children get to use their own brain while they're doing it. On the other hand, crafts, if you just only do crafts, it just fosters compliance and following directions. So just know the difference. And the stages of artistic development, they do go through them, but I thought I'd add a little bit more to that. The ages are very, very relative here. You know, scribble stage can be from 1.5 to 5. It's relative. So kind of don't worry about the stages too much, the ages too much. Until later. Anyway, so first of all, you know, we all start out with the random scribbles. Everybody does them. And eventually they will tell you what it is they are scribbling. They look kind of like this, and they're really pretty random. And as a few more months go by, children are able to fill the whole page with those scribbles. We go into the pre-schematic stage, and again, ages are relative here. You notice this covers preschool, kindergarten, first grade, and maybe beginning of second grade. You'll notice that children's art is starting to have some favorite colors in it, and it's starting to have people in it, and we call those the tadpole people. They have a big head, and they may or may not have a tiny body and some stick arms and legs. They're always floating in space. They're just out there somewhere. There's no baseline, no ground for them to stand on. And at times they have X-ray drawings. When we talk about X-ray drawings, I'll show you a little bit more here in a minute. But this is still pre-schematic. Lines are all combined with shapes. You see that someone's writing their name, Shannon. They've got lots of shapes here. There's some letter forms, got a little heart going here and a triangle. This is still pre-schematic. We've got our tadpole people. They've got nice long legs hanging down here. Now, a lot of times, and I don't have one of these, but if you have a child whose mom's having a baby, they will literally put the baby in here too, because to them, the people are see-through. You can just see straight through. This one here is very advanced though, because that person even has hair, and that's an important detail. And that person looks like they have eyelashes. Another important detail. Still pre-schematic. Even though this child here looks like it's a, you know, pretty complete picture of a child on the monkey bars. But notice that the house is floating up in the air, and looks like an animal up there in the air. Everything just kind of floating around. Still pre-schematic. Anytime you see the floating business, it's pre-schematic. And now we get further into the schematic, where they can actually tell you everything that they're drawing. And their drawings have much more detail. But you notice that there's still a lack of a baseline on this schematic drawing. This one is still kind of in the middle, but it is obviously a drawing that was made by a child that was a boy. And the reason I say that is take a close look at Hansel. Hansel is much more detailed than Gretel. The schematic stage shows children or any people on a baseline. It also shows objects on a baseline. And people become much better proportioned. You're not going to see any tadpoles. This is schematic. Notice the ground. And the people all look like they're pretty much in proportion to their ages and sizes. Again, this is the schematic stage. Notice the baseline. You've got birds in the sky. You've got clouds and a sun in the sky. And there's a tree over here. More schematic. Baselines on the ground. And then right around about 9 years of age, 3rd grade, they go into what's called realism, where they're able to add moving elements and 3-dimensional elements. Notice on this picture, there are 3-dimensional elements. There's also a moving element because there's someone diving into the pool. And this is definitely made to be 3-dimensional. And then this is really good, and it's definitely 3-dimensional. But I wanted you to see a little bit more about these ages and stages and what they look like. But my prime purpose here is, while we're talking about physical development, especially the fine motor development, is to really press the point on the difference between crafts versus real art. And there you have it. This PowerPoint is also on your Blackboard site. Now, this week, you're going to create a PowerPoint presentation because you are the lead teacher in a preschool classroom, and you're having a family education workshop. And so as part of your workshop, you're going to need a PowerPoint to show the families. Even though all 4-year-olds, all children develop at their own pace, obviously. However, there is such a thing as normative, gross, and fine motor development. So you are going to create a PowerPoint that informs families about basic, gross, and fine motor skills that their 4-year-olds will be developing this school year. And you're also going to include suggestions for fostering this development at home. So be thorough, give them lots of wonderful information, and go ahead and submit your PowerPoint on in assignments on Blackboard by Sunday at midnight. If you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. We'll set up an appointment and have a Zoom visit about it. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.